We're often told that as soon as plentiful DC fast charging stations are available, the whole problem of range anxiety will disappear, as we'll be able to charge our EVs in 20 minutes, ignoring grid capacity for the moment. The problem with this is that fast charging itself causes a certain amount of internal damage to the electrodes in the battery, so you can't simply fast charge every day without degrading the battery of your car. For those of us still driving proper cars, the thought that the faster we fill up our fuel tanks, the less time our engine would last seems utterly ridiculous. And indeed it is utterly ridiculous to those of us still grounded in reality. But in the warped world of EV ownership, which isn't grounded in reality, this is a well-known problem. And now EV manufacturers are beginning to limit the frequency of fast charging in order to preserve the battery life. So the next time you arrive at your charging station, the car might pop up with the message, "Tough luck, mate, no fast charging for you today." And yes, seriously, I'm really not making this up. Welcome back to MGUY, British engineer and lawyer turned Sydney YouTuber. Please be sure to like, share and subscribe, hit the notification bell, drop a comment down below, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter X. This story comes from the Danish website Jyllands-Posten via Google Translate. Alan Nielsen got mysterious news from his BMW i5 on his skiing holiday, was punished for lightning charging too many times in a row, that's fast charging. Car of the Year in Denmark and a number of other electric cars force people to take breaks from lightning charging if they have zipped too many times in a row. BMW i5 owner needs more information from manufacturer and dealers. At 05:45 in the morning, at a gas station in Bregenz in Austria in week 9, Alan Nielsen got an unpleasant scare. He and his family had driven all night through Europe and DC charged 6 times along the way on the 1,280-kilometre trip from Silkeborg to the ski resort of Ischgl. But with 135 kilometres to go, at the last stop before the destination, Alan Nielsen's new BMW i5 suddenly gave a mysterious message. DC charging performance temporarily reduced to spare the high-voltage battery. Full DC charging performance available again after a DC charging break of up to 2 days. Alan Nielsen, who received the car in December last year, had not heard anything about so-called DC charging breaks, i.e. a break from lightning charging, before, and although the family still arrived on time, he was still shaken by the message when it appeared in the car's display. "I could see that we could easily get there, but I was glad that we didn't have to continue to Livigno in Italy, because then I would have had problems," said Alan Nielsen. To reset the alarm, Alan Nielsen now had to find an ordinary AC charger in Austria. Otherwise, he had to live with very slow charges on the return trip. After asking other BMW i5 owners for advice in a Facebook group, he came to the conclusion that the DC charging break is probably triggered after a total of 7 DC charges, and therefore he also made another plan for the trip home. Every time he stopped to charge, he charged a little more than what the car recommended, and that way he and his family could only make 5 stops on the trip home and thus avoid the alarm altogether. Oh my God, so now you don't just have to worry about where you're going to charge and whether you've got enough range to get to the next charger, but you also need to worry whether the car will prohibit you from charging at a decent rate. BMW were contacted about this story and Mette Lolholm, corporate communications manager, provided this response. All new electric cars from BMW have a protection function for the battery, which comes into effect in the event of unusual charging patterns, such as many DC charges in a row for a short period of time. This can result in a reduced charging effect at the next DC charge. She confirms that these are the models i4, i5, i7, iX, iX1, iX2 and iX3. Mette Lolholm states that you will still be able to DC charge, but that it will happen with fewer kilowatts, and that if you AC charge, the function will be reset. How many times you can DC lightning charge before the protection function takes effect depends on a number of factors and the specific model. To me, this is just plain madness. If I have only 20 minutes to stop on a journey, I should be able to refuel or recharge in 20 minutes. But that's not the case anymore. Again, we see yet more control and choice taken away from the driver. Now, in the brave new world of EV ownership, the car decides when and how fast you can charge. And if you've had your ration of fast charges for this week, then tough luck.